Hey, good evening. It's July 20th. It's like 5, 6 o'clock in the evening, whatever it is, 5:40. Um, just information. Started the ketogenic diet again. It would have been June 16th. This is now June 20th. It's a little over 30 days, but it's the completion of the week where I hit my 30 days. And I continued just doing the normal diet. Had a little bit of a setback. Mostly it's from having gout and then having to add pharmaceuticals to my regimen to help break up the acid that built up after an injury to an elbow. 228 pounds today when I woke up, so right on the dot even, so it was 228.0 for the last 2 days. Still taking the nabethicin. I think tonight's my last dose. The elbow feels a lot better, but it's not 100% cleared up, so I'm going to keep an eye on it. Tomorrow, I start adding 7 to 10 cups of leafy green vegetables to my diet, and then I'm continuing with a very similar regimen with the meat and the fat. Okay, so a couple of things. I'm going to have my blood sugar is going to be checked on Monday, or not my blood sugar, but my blood work will be done. I'll have my blood draw on Monday, get my doctor's appointment on the following Monday, so the 29th. So the 22nd for my draw, 29th for my evaluation of the information and going over my numbers. I will go ahead and explain what my numbers were for April when I did my draw, and then what they are on the 29th when I evaluate with the doctor, and where I've made my improvements and any negatives that have come up over the last month, and actually 3 months from the previous draw. Couple of other things. I'm going to be starting exercise as well, so I'll be doing like a HIIT training 3 days a week, and then I walk the dog 7 days a week, so that I'll continue walking the dog. And then I'm also going to start focusing more on my macros. That's not something that I focused on the first 30 days. So I don't know if y'all are familiar with macros, but they're the macronutrients that you take in. That'd be fat, protein, and carbohydrates. So fat, obviously, different sources of fat. Some of them have nutrients, but most of them do not have other nutrients associated with it. Like if you're eating nuts are fat, but they also have carbs, and they have protein, and they have micronutrients that are in nuts and seeds. Avocados are a good source of fat. They have other nutrients, like they have fiber is a big one, and then they have some micronutrients in there as well, antioxidants and some other stuff that are beneficial. Okay, and then I'll be breaking down, so BMR, basal metabolic rate, or basic metabolic rate, whatever you want to call it. It's basically how many calories it takes for your body to function if you did absolutely nothing other than just take care of your normal bodily functions, like staying in bed all day but getting up to go to the bathroom, whatever. So just what it takes to run your body, to breathe, to digest food, to lay there and do nothing, or sit there and do nothing. So if you were just operating on sloth, how many calories does it take for your body to stay at the weight you're currently at? So there are calculators on the interweb. You can just go in, type in BMR calculator. A lot of them are free. It's height, weight, age, and then whether you're male or female. Those are important information, and so that's a starting point to find out, okay, this is what it takes for me to, without any activity, stay at the weight I'm at. So if you're doing this for weight loss, and that's your main focus, then you want to know what your BMR is, and then you want to calculate your macro percentages based off of your BMR. So I would, once a week, check my BMR, say, okay, so for me, I just went and did it. It's 2023 for my BMR. So 2,023 calories to maintain my current weight without any exercise or any activity. So if you're doing the numbers off of that, so 60 to 75% is like 1,300 or 1,200 calories up to like 1,550 or whatever it is. And then protein would be like 300 calories up to 500 and something calories for like 25 to 30%. And then carbs 5 to 15% be like, I think it's 130 calories up to like 200 and something or 300 something. I can't remember what the specific numbers are, but what you do is you figure out what your BMR is and then take your percentages and work those numbers for what you're trying to do. So if you're looking at higher fat, 70 to 75%, and then your protein, obviously if you're doing 75%, you need to be less than 20% for your fat to be able to have any carbs. Otherwise you'd have 0 carbs. Okay, and if you're going to do 0 carbs, it's a pretty extreme form, but you can do it and you can sustain that. But I would suggest 5% carbs as your minimum, and then work the fat numbers to be able to, your fat and your protein numbers to be able to accommodate 5% carb. If you're looking pretty restrictive carbohydrate intake, 5's pretty restrictive. That's what I'm probably going to be basing mine off of, is 5% carbs, and then probably about 25% protein, and then the rest would be fat. So, and I'll every week do your numbers, recalculate, and as you lose weight, you're going to be taking in less calories. So you are still doing a calorie restrictive diet. So just understand, part of what you're doing is, as you get smaller, you have to take in less calories. Otherwise, you don't get smaller after a certain point, because your calorie base is based on what your needs are. Now, high fat, low carb diets tend to be naturally restrictive because you eat until you're full. Your body pretty much tells you, hey, I'm full, we're done. But you got to be able to listen to your body. You got to understand what that is. So sometimes it's better to find out what your macros are and stick with that, and each week adjust your macros until you get to either a goal weight, or you go in and you have your body fat assessed. So for men, I believe the recommended body fat percentages are 6 to 9% for athletic males, up to like 12% for still healthy. And then women, I believe it's I think 10 to 15, I believe, is healthy. I don't know specifically what women's numbers are, but it's really easy to look that stuff up. You can do that on your own. So, just understand that that's part of what we're doing here. And when we're working our way into a healthier person, and understand that your diet is not a short-term fix, it's a long-term solution. And that means changing your consistent diet to being higher nutrient dense and moderately higher fat, so that you're eating enough fat to satiate your body, but you're also eating enough nutrients. That's what, like, when you start adding more vegetables to your diet as you get to your goal weights, you're going to add more vegetables. Okay? As you add more vegetables, that's more nutrients. Once you start filling out the nutrients that you need long term, then your overall health will improve as you add the proper nutrients, proper fiber, all that stuff, and that's all from vegetables. A little bit of fruit here and there, but you want to limit, especially if you have issues with blood sugar and you're not at your goal weight. Once you get to maintenance, You can have fruit. You can have a piece of cake once in a blue moon, but I wouldn't go recommend, oh, I'm changing my diet back to what I was when I got fat. You understand? This is a long-term diet. This isn't, you're changing your overall diet for your life. You're not changing for a year, 2 years, just to get to your goal weight and then changing back to what you were before. The reason you're fat is because of what you were eating before, you know? So it's got to be something that you change and want to do permanently. Like I said, as you get down to what your ideal weight is, then you add more vegetables as your base for your meals. And then snacks would be fruits, you know, and other types of vegetables that you like snacking on, like celery. I love celery, you know, a little bit of peanut butter or almond butter on some celery, and that's a good snack, or some carrots, you know, that type of deal. So you just got to figure it out and figure out what works for you, all right? So good luck. God bless. Have a good one.